What's the first thing you think of when you hear the word narcissist? Chances are, your mind conjures up a very specific image, someone grandiose, entitled, utterly self-absorbed, someone who dominates conversations, fishes for compliments, and seems to have a complete inability to consider the feelings of others. This is the bad narcissist of pop culture and, unfortunately, of many real-life experiences. Narcissism, in this light, has become one of the most misunderstood and overused terms of our time. We are so intensely aware of this negative archetype, the one whose overweening pride leaves no room for empathy or kindness, that we are at risk of missing something far more fundamental, the central, and even beautiful, role that a different kind of narcissism should play in the development of any healthy human being. You see, none of us is able to truly thrive without a chance to deeply and genuinely like ourselves. This isn't vanity. It's a psychological necessity. Psychotherapy recognizes that we universally require a dose of what is termed healthy narcissism. Think of it as a quiet, steady, internal confidence. It's a fundamental sense of our own lovability and our rightful place in the world. It's the feeling that you are good enough, just as you are. But here's the crucial part: this isn't something we're born with. It's a gift, bequeathed to us through the approval, the attention, and the enthusiastic care of those who raise us in our earliest, most formative years. It's built from thousands of small moments, being held with tenderness, having our cries responded to, seeing a genuine smile of delight on a parent's face just because we entered the room. It's the experience of being seen, valued, and loved, not for what we do, but for who we are. In our modern haste to condemn anything that looks like selfishness or pride, we often miss out on the primordial importance of this kind of self-esteem and confidence that is generated by love. We've been taught to be wary of anyone who seems too pleased with themselves. But we fail to see the other, far more common side of the coin, the deep, internal damage caused by a profound lack of self-love. To understand this better, let's revisit the original story. Let's look at the myth of Narcissus. If we analyze his situation from a clinical point of view, the mythological Narcissus didn't become fixated on his own reflection because he loved himself too much. That's the popular misreading. The truth is quite the opposite, and a good deal more poignant. He became obsessed with his reflection because some form of early deprivation must have bred in him a desperate, insatiable need to keep checking in on himself. He was trapped in a doomed, manic search for a sense of value that he clearly couldn't believe in on his own. He was looking for proof that he was worthy, a proof that he never received from the outside world. His pool of water is the modern-day equivalent of our social media feed. The constant scrolling for likes, the endless search for external validation to fill an internal void. He wasn't full of himself. He was tragically empty. Without that adequate, early approval, that foundational love, we develop what is known in psychology as a narcissistic wound. This is a core feeling of profound inadequacy. It's a deep-seated doubt that can latch on to any part of us: our looks, our social status, our intelligence, our creativity. It's a quiet, persistent whisper in the back of our minds that says, "You are not enough." As wounded people, this feeling dictates our lives in ways we often don't even realize. We are then drawn, almost magnetically and despite ourselves, to scenarios that constantly scratch at these perceived flaws. Let's break down how this manifests. First, we develop a hypersensitivity to criticism. We become acutely alive to every slight, Every ambiguous comment. Every perceived rejection. A simple piece of feedback at work isn't just feedback. It's a confirmation of our deepest fear that we are incompetent. A friend not texting back immediately isn't just them being busy. It's proof that we are unlovable and annoying. Second, this wound shapes our relationship patterns. We might subconsciously pick partners who are emotionally unavailable, critical, or simply incapable of reassuring us. Why would we do this? Because it feels familiar. It's a tragic attempt by our psyche to replay the original dynamic, hoping that this time, we can finally win the love and approval we never got. We try to fix the past by reliving it. But almost always, we only succeed in re-traumatizing ourselves. And third, it leads to a pattern of self-sabotage. When something good finally does happen, we get the promotion. We find a kind and loving partner. We achieve a long-held goal. It feels deeply uncomfortable. This positivity clashes with our core belief of being unworthy. And so, we anticipate and thereby often precipitate the end of everything positive or kind. We push people away. We make a critical mistake at work. We find a reason to end the healthy relationship. All to return to the familiar, painful comfort of our own inadequacy. We hear far too much about the fictional character who grows evil and selfish because they think too well of themselves. The reality of the human psyche, however, is far more complex and, frankly, far sadder. The truth is that everyone has a fundamental, biological need to be seen, to be valued, to be adored. We suffer immensely if we are not. This isn't a weakness. It's a core part of the human condition, as essential as food and water. So, what is the path forward? The good news is that wounds can heal. We should strive to become more conscious, more aware of our own narcissistic wounds and the patterns they create in our lives. The path to healing involves trying to solve them through intentional doses of the very same sort of love whose original absence created them in the first place. This is a process of reparenting ourselves. It means learning to speak to ourselves with the kindness and compassion we may not have received. It means actively challenging the harsh inner critic that tells us we're not good enough. When that voice says, "You failed," we must learn to respond with, "You tried. And that is what matters. You can try again." As we need to keep reminding ourselves, over and over again, no one ever grew ill from too much genuine love. This journey of healing our narcissistic wounds is perhaps one of the most profound and worthwhile we can undertake. It begins with the courage to look inward. Not with judgment or shame, but with the boundless compassion we always deserved. It means consciously choosing relationships that nourish our spirit and learning to set firm boundaries with, or gently let go of, those that reopen old wounds. It's about learning to accept a compliment without deflecting it, to celebrate our own successes without minimizing them, and to forgive ourselves for our inevitable imperfections. When we learn to offer ourselves this profound acceptance, something miraculous happens. The reflection that looks back at us is no longer that of a desperate stranger searching for validation, but of a whole person, worthy of love, simply because they exist. This is the true, beautiful, and empowering end of the myth, not drowning in a pool of self-obsession, but finally finding peace in a vast, calm sea of self-acceptance. You learn that your value isn't something you have to earn. It's something you simply are. If these ideas about psychology, healing, and living a more conscious life resonate with you. We invite you to become part of our community. This is a space for deep thinking and gentle growth. Please subscribe to our channel for more content that explores the beautiful complexities of the human mind and heart. Thank you for watching.